Well, the creative edge of consciousness is, it's like everybody always talks about the cutting edge of things, and this is the cutting edge. But you don't want to live on the cutting edge because eventually you get cut. So if you're on the creative edge, you're always looking to what else can be created, what else is possible, and what else can be achieved that I've never considered in any reality.
I started listening to The Creative Edge when Gary and Dane started years ago. It used to actually be called The Gold Club. And they started it with that title because every call was about money. At that time in my life, I had, for me, the most intense credit card debt. It felt impossible for me to get out of it. I sort of got to this place where I was like, okay, I really need to change this. Gary and Dane have been doing all these calls on money. Why am I not listening? And I'm committed to listening to at least one call a day. And in addition to listening, I would actually do the exercises and the processes. It took about 3 months and I literally was out of the credit card debt. I was in the green with money in a way that I never really expected to be possible. And that's what the Creative Edge was to begin with. And it's evolved into dealing with every single area of our lives.
Creative Edge is just like this summary of what is going on in Access. Money-wise, it's nothing compared to what you get. You are updated. You don't have to go around the world to follow Gary, Dane, Simone, or Brando. It's there. You have the clearing, you have the audio loop, so you don't have, all you have to do is just play and read and play.
For me, the creative edge of consciousness is about exploring those things that used to be boundaries that are actually new frontiers of possibility. What's interesting is we all live on a planet where we're interconnected. In creating the processes for future months, we just ask, okay, what's going to be required for everybody? What will contribute the most to everybody?
When I joined the Creative Edge, as if by magic, every topic that would come up monthly addressed kind of what was going on in my life. I'm a single mom, so I have 2 little boys that are really spunky and full of life, and sometimes I need that extra help to kind of have more allowance for me as a parent. And allowance means no judgment. I may not be doing everything perfectly right now, and if I wasn't judging that, then what could I start to become aware of and what possibilities available?
Everywhere I've sort of felt stuck at times, things that I couldn't really figure out, the call would come up and I could ask questions and I would be totally unstuck. And it created so much more ease in my world with my relationships, with family, at home. I'm totally grateful for the Creative Edge and what it's creating in the world.
One of the things I've noticed with doing Access for so long, and usually if I'm having something going on that day, so is everybody else. And I talk to people and they're like,
you mean my psychic?
That sounds like my day. That sounds like my day. Yeah, that's how oneness works. It's like we get on these calls and we do these Zooms and we bust down the wall for one person. One person's willing to make a change and all of these other people get free also.
Creative Edge is such a different energy. It is like nothing else that we create in Access
Well,
Consciousness.
it's called what? The Creative
Edge. Creative Edge is for the brave.
I am quite sure that I would lose a substantial amount of money if I was not on the Creative Edge of Consciousness membership. This sounds quite dramatic, but there have been many, many choices that I've been able to make that had nothing to do with logic or reasoning, but had a lot to do with my natural gut feeling, if you like, or knowing or awareness that was accessed by the tools given in the Creative Edge. Had I not had this, some of the risks that I've taken over the last few years, I would definitely have not had the courage to take, and this has contributed a lot to my financial reality.
Creative Edge would also be a great taster for you to see what's in Access Consciousness classes if you've never taken one. What you get is like clips from classes from all over the world, from a bunch of facilitators around a variety of topics. It keeps you on the creative edge of your life. If you were creating your life, what would you choose? You start adding that zest of like, what would I like to create? If my life was my greatest creation, what would that look like? And one thing that the Creative Edge really changed for me is commitment. I was willing to use the tools when I was desperate, when I got to the point of like, oh, I have a problem I need to solve. And what if your life was not about solving problems, but creating it as a joyful, juicy, fun, creative energy? Not just about like, oh my gosh, I need to put a patch over here and make that work better, and this is unsustainable. What if you didn't have to get to the point of unsustainability to create your life?
Consciousness is a place in which no judgment runs your life. No choice is made without awareness. And all choices are source of creation. And in consciousness, don't try to get it right. You only choose what will create next.